Hey, there, you. Hi, are you sick of talking about football on social media platforms like Twitter? Well, come over and join our Discord. Club Legend subscribers on Redmen Plus gain exclusive access. We're in there chatting about the Reds, a gang of wonderful sound people. There's a no knobheads policy, so you can have a much more fun, engaging and just generally enjoyable experience chatting about Liverpool Football Club. RedmenPlus.com, Club Legend subscribers, get in the Discord. Hey everyone, it is the Redmen podcast.
Fucking hell, my head looks shiny on that.
That is a shiny head. And the quickest demonetisation there's ever been on a YouTube video of all time.
Impressive. You've taken me record.
No, because the pre-roll counts.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Doesn't that?
Sorry.
Steve Hall. Shiny head and Steve Hall.
So bad.
And Chris Pajak as well in the studio for this one. You going to... Wow, he's Fred Durst, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a shiny spot on the top.
Looks a game called Magic Pockets on the Amiga back in the day. Don't put it that way. We don't. No, don't have that. Next week's day.
You and your Marga cap.
Right. So yeah, we're going to discuss Liverpool draw with Palace, and as you can tell, we're so keen to get on with that.
The audio listeners, I do apologise. Basically, my head looks really shiny under these new lights.
I don't know if he's made that clear enough, but his head's very shiny.
I had a shave the other day, and
what do you use to shave?
Well, I don't want to say because I'm not sponsored by anyone yet, but I use
have to say
no. What do I use? I use
a
razor.
It's electric one. I just yeah. So
a lawnmower.
It doesn't need that. I mean, it's on like the lowest setting possible. Like it's not like, and you get number 5. Like it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I've got a beard trimmer, and I use that on my head as well. But so I put the clip on for my beard, and without for the head. Nice. Yeah, because I do get there's a damn egg in the nest that grows quite quickly as well. That, to be fair, I mean, relatively speaking. Yeah. But the top of the head, yeah, it's really shiny, and yeah. I'm moisturised, and I think maybe I wondered that's what's done it.
But it's you look resplendent.
I look like a bowling ball.
Yeah, there is a bit of that. It's a bit like when they Big Lebowski when they're shining up the balls in the little sack things.
They've gone really like blonde on top.
But a bit, yeah, maybe.
Is it grey?
I
think it might be grey.
I do get a bit
of the sun that's affected it, hasn't it?
I get salt pepper beard as well, so I think it is a bit grey. Yeah, but listen, we go again.
I really don't want to talk.
We don't grow again, though, do you?
No, we don't grow again.
Yeah.
Grass, was it Moss Can't grow on busy street? That's what it is.
Yeah,
my head's constantly busy.
I love how there's a saying for everything like that. It's like there's a saying for it's a very Scouse thing, I think. You know what I mean? Like there's a saying for lots of things that you would normally have the piss taken out of you.
Basically, you're a ball. Get on with it.
Yeah. There's like the one for have you got one for there's one for when fellas have only got daughters. There's something to do with like
only real men can father a daughter or something like that. Isn't it? Yeah, I've said that before.
Yeah, there's loads of those random ones. Just like, it's like there's like the tall one. It's like, you know, yeah. I'm the first to know when it rains. Great, yeah, great. Well done. Yeah, it's boss. Kick-off question. As we approach the chat about Crystal Palace.
How long can we put that off for? Let's see.
We'll see. Yeah. What's your at Nebinson on Twitter asked the question, what's your favourite incident of a footballer seeing the red mist like Nunes the other day? I've got a few.
Throw them out.
The first one that came to mind was Lebo, and Kieran Dyer scrapping on the pitch. Just in the middle of a football match.
The pitches that are mad because they're so angry. Like they are, like it isn't just like it's a proper kill. Like they don't like each other. Real proper anger in that one.
My least favourite, for the point of argument, not that it was asked, remains Steven Gerrard getting sent off against Manchester United after coming off on a
sub. I know why that's your least favourite.
Yeah,
like 10 seconds after coming on the pitch.
Because I was on Sky's fan zone with Steve Ocean.
What did you just said when Steven Gerrard came on?
Like something like, here he comes, the man for the big occasion.
He wasn't wrong. The word had just left your mouth when...
Oh, he's off. He's off, isn't he?
You wasn't wrong.
No,
he was a man for the... He did change the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Zidane is just... Although he was one of my favourite footballers ever,
infinitely funny to see him completely lose it in a World Cup final and throw that headbutt in. That's ridiculous. Like, how you can lose it so much for a proper big game player who'd been there, won it and everything. Like, we're talking, and we will talk a little bit about Nunes, 23 years old or whatever, first game in front of Anfield, who loses it because the defender's been leaning on him all game long. We're talking about Zizou, who'd won everything.
It was an exclamation
and
point
still
on his
loses
entire
it.
career, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Was that even
It was
the
the
final game, wasn't it? I love that. I love. Right, my favourite non-Liverpool player probably of all time, non-goalkeeping, non-Liverpool. I just love it. I love the fact that, like, just punctuate it, bang, brilliant. It's a wonderful. That's my point.
He got through it, didn't he?
Exactly.
He didn't
That's my
stop.
point.
If you're
getting sent off
through
for
it,
nutting someone, put them through the floor.
I've always said this: if you're gonna throw a punch or a headbutt, at least do it. Like, you're gonna get sent off, you might as well do something about it, rather than one of these little lame.
We get so many disappointing red cards. So it was mentioned on the debate show, because we were doing a topic on debate show this week about if you could erase your memory of any Liverpool player, who would it be? Just completely wipe your memory of them. And one of the club legends shouted Markovic. And Steve Plunkett brought up, like, his red card when he was just, like, he kind of reached out behind him and touched someone's eyeball. It's like, and then that was the end of his Liverpool career, effectively. That little purple patch
that wasn't
was quite
the end
good.
of his Liverpool career.
No, I mean, it was, wasn't he? He stayed at the club for 5 more years after that.
I ended his Liverpool career. Nobody else.
Yeah, Chris shut down Pajak.
Pepe sends off, like, slapping Iron Robin with, like, the he should have just chinned him. You're gonna get sent off. I've got a couple for this. First of all, Jamie Carragher throwing the quid back at the Arsenal fan, because if someone throws a pound, like, if I throw a quid at someone, I should expect to get back thrown in my face. And that's
what. But who are you throwing it at?
Well, you're
not throwing it at the fan, are you? You didn't see you threw it. It's hilarious, regardless.
Yeah. He's like, Jamie has a little bit of a prize for collateral damage around retaliations, admittedly. Like, but unless he knew specifically who he was aiming for, and if he has, and he's hit them spot on. I did see some of Jamie Carragher's long range passing over the years of his Liverpool career, and I would, unless he was aiming for Peter Crouch in the crowd, I'm not saying it necessarily.
No, I reckon he knew.
I agree.
Innately knew and got, yeah, fair enough. I like that one. I was off the field.
Just gets a handful of change out.
Scattered across. Use it guilty by association.
Shotgun over sniper.
Worms airstrike. I'll get one of you bastards.
Yeah, I've got collateral damage. Me and Chris went out to watch the Super Bowl in Beer Killer. Remember this one? And Joey Barton was in the place.
Right, because you were telling this to me. I didn't realise this is something you should witness firsthand.
Yeah. So me and Chris,
I thought this was just something that
no. Me and Chris went out to Beer Killer to watch the Super Bowl a few years ago now, and then Joey Barton was there with some of his mates, and there was a big queue for the beer, and he tried to walk to the front. And the girl said something, and he said something along the lines of, like, it was kind of like the, do you know who I am kind of thing. And this girl was like, I've got no idea who you are, get to the back of the queue.
Are you in the Arctic Monkeys?
So, is it Leighton Baines?
Are you a professor or a scally? And anyway, loads of people started laughing at him, and he took umbrage with it. And he ends up outside and fighting. And these lads just levering him because he tried to big time it. To be fair, he chin one, I think he did anyway. And yeah, he got swiftly carried away by his mates. But you can see why, like, he's had the red mist in footy. Obviously, remember the City Aguero game? Everyone remembers the goal. You forget Joey Barton losing his shit and throwing boots and everything. Well, he lost it in that night in Beer Killer. It was really funny. I mean, the best moment was as he was getting dragged away, a drunken Chris Pajak shouting abuse at him from like 500 yards.
And like 3 levels above him. Like, he had no chance to come and get me. And I had my exit plan all sorted out. I'm basically running back into Beer Killer and hiding in a cubicle in the women's. There's no way he's finding me.
Yeah, so that was Joey Barton losing it when some girl who didn't know who he was, and everyone started laughing about it. Loads of American football fans as well, like big burly lads, and Joey Barton trying to gig. It was really funny. So that's
there's a few other ones, isn't it? Who was the former City player? Bosnian, was he? Jacko? Mm-hmm. Is he Bosnian? He played I don't know whether it was a qualifier for a World Cup or it might have been in a World Cup or something, and he gets fouled and he turns around and pulls the lad's shorts down and gets sent off for it. Like, that's just like, I mean, come on, mate. Are you really going to do that to me? You pantsed him in the middle of the footy field and got sent off.
Red mist.
I think, well, what else is it? It's either stupidity or red mist.
Well, it's something and that in the red mist befell my wife this week at the weekend. It's a story I'll tell on Podcast Extra, but that was her exact response to being wound up in a situation. I can't possibly tell it on this podcast.
Can you let me know if it was your dad or not?
But I will tell it on Podcast Extra after this, over on Redmen Plus. So yeah, we'll have more random questions.
Did it happen, and were they wearing ballies or boxies?
You'll have to wait in. You'll have to wait in here. Right, yeah.
Oh, no underwear.
We'll be answering more of the questions and giving answers that we can't possibly give on the public podcast. So if you want that here, I want three of us chatting more random shite, then do head over to Redmen Plus. We're going to be going live pretty much after this. If you're already a subscriber over there, if you watch it live, then get signed up now, and then you should be able to be online by the time we go live. With that, right, sounds. We are going to be discussing the Crystal Palace and the Darwin Núñez, Red. If you've got any of your favourite football or Red Mist situations, let us know in the comments if you're live here on YouTube or a Club Legend as well. And then we're also going to be talking about Man United later on as well as that. Right, short break from us and then into Palace.
It is fucking August. It's baking hot. I'm not filming this in July in the middle of a heat wave. And we've got an incredible Club Legend competition for you this August. It is a signed Rome 77 shirt, and it's signed by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Phil Thompson. To be involved, if you're a club captain, go over to redmenplus.com and upgrade your subscription to Club Legend. If you're brand new to Redmen TV, then get over to redmenplus.com. Sign up as a Club Legend. You could win this incredible prize and other prizes that we give away for some reason every single month.
Hey, yes, welcome back.
Time code this. Someone time code this. This is the bit where we start talking about football.
Yeah. We were talking about football just then. What are you talking about? Joey Barton. I mean, I know technically he was on a day off and he was watching American football. Well, here we go.
Time code this.
Liverpool won. Crystal Palace won. Another day, another draw. Does it matter to use, I'll start with you, Chris, that the circumstances and the method in which it was achieved, or is it just it's a point and a point to point and we should be disappointed with a point?
I think it does matter, to be honest with you. I don't think I was as down as some people after the game. I think that's fair to say. I saw a lot of people, to be honest with you, just absolutely raging and stuff. And you know, I'll be honest, I could see why it happened. I'd watched Anderson rail Núñez all game long, holy basically. And so it was, you know, he'd been done by a Premier League defender, and that can happen. The most disappointing part was, if he'd have stayed on the field, I'm not sure anything changed.
Yeah.
That's worse for me. You know, it wasn't until there was a reaction from the sending off from the crowd that Liverpool started to play football. And, you know, the fears going into this season for me were, are Liverpool a better side than they were at the end of last season? And the answer always for me, all summer long, and I don't know how many times I said it, was we're a worse side for not having Sadio Mane and bringing Núñez in the first few games of the season. Mm-hmm. Now, Liverpool to win the league this season, I believe, needed to start strong and keep up until they got to the point where they were firing on all cylinders, when Núñez was perfectly integrated. Now, as it turns out, where the injury players are back into the side and stuff, and we look a little toothless up front. Mm-hmm. We looked a little, after that first 15 minutes, I thought we played really well in the first 15 minutes. I thought we played some really nice football, and we kind of ran out of ideas and didn't trust in the process. Yeah. And then we started lumping balls into Núñez's head, and at that point, Crystal Palace gained a little bit of confidence and a little bit of ground in the game. They came and played 5-4-1. You know what I mean? Their battle plan was, we're going to hit you on the break, and their battle plan worked.
Yeah.
And it nullified us, and they created opportunity after opportunity. Some of them were offside, you know, some of them weren't. And some of them were saved by Alisson. Some of them, when they were offside, were saved by Alisson. But after that point, from 15 minutes until the sending off, Liverpool didn't really do enough for me. And that's the disappointing thing. I mean, you know, I've seen people talk about Salah was too wide. Well, actually, that's, I think, was, and we mentioned it during the pre-season games, that was always going to be the plan, it looked like, this season. Salah was going to get more chalk on his boots and start running at players and getting involved. Different when you're playing a 4 at the back or a 3 at back to a 5 at the back. Because Nathaniel Clyne, you know, on one side did a really good job sticking to Luis Diaz and making it completely impossible for him to get away, and on the other side the left back did a good job of staying near Salah and keeping him out of the game. Yeah, he was good. So the disappointment is Liverpool aren't there yet, and we're not going to be any better for having Roberto Firmino, Diaz and Salah than Nunes firing on all cylinders for the next 3 games. We've got to grind now, make no mistake about it, for 3 games and get 9 points. Otherwise, we're going to be too far back, too early on into this season to make it count. Yeah. And there's another year wasted. And this shades of 2003 Benitez.
Yeah. It feels to me...
See why we were trying to avoid this conversation.
No. Yeah.
And I'm feeling good about it.
Where the fuck did that go? Fucking hell, sucker punch there. Like, oh, great. You know what? Yeah, I'm not in the mood for swinging punch. Okay, it was me walking in with my hands behind my back here. Fucking hell, Chris Payne just come windmilling out.
For me, the result is huge. You can't get away from it. That's the thing, is that ultimately you can play badly and still get something out of a game and you just move on. And we've done it before, like, you know. I
think you can, but the moment you go down to 10 men, I think the expectation that you should definitely get something out of the game evaporates.
It's great to see the fight. It's great to see that reaction. The worrying thing is, without it, there was no reaction.
Yeah. I think...
Well, that we know.
If you want to look, the very, very minor positives are we played crap in the first game and didn't lose, and we went down to 10 men down and didn't lose. They're like the minor positives, but you can't get away from the fact that you've got 2 points on Fulham and Palace. And that's ultimately, that should have been a bank of 6 points. I would be I mean, who knows, because I guess City go to Fulham and win. I know Palace took points off them last season, but you'd imagine Palace...
And the season before and the season before.
So you'd like to hope that they don't, but like maybe City might be Palace. All I've said is, it doesn't rule us out of anything, but it means that we have to go somewhere and win.
Your margin of error is decreased.
Well, we have to go somewhere and win a game where a draw or even a loss isn't the end of the world. I keep referencing, we might have to go to the Etihad and win now, or you might have to go to Tottenham and win, or to Chelsea and win, or, you know, even like United next week, where a draw at Old Trafford historically has been all right. You've got to win. Yeah. That's where we found now. You've lost your lives. There's only an infinite. You can lose what? There's 114 points available, something like that, is the right. You can lose 20 points a season. We've lost 4 in the first 2 games. We've got 16 points to lose now in 30 odd other games.
Yeah.
And we don't look like a team at the moment who's going to go on that run.
You can sprinkle draws and defeats throughout the season, it's fine. We keep talking about, like, City lost 3 games last season and what to do 4 or 5. You know, that's our margin. That's your margin of error if you want a 90+ point season. However, it's the psychological hump of, if you're already 4, 6, 7, 9 points behind after 5, 6 games of the season, you're playing a different game. You very much, you end up in a battle for top 4, and that's what that looks like. And that's what I was saying. We did this chat on the debate show yesterday. Of this feels already like 2008, 2009, 2010. It feels like 2014, 15, it feels like 2002, 2003. It's got that, like, after coming so close, and this is how normally we start seasons, after coming so close and facing disappointment at the end. But equally, it is 2 games played, and not, and this is not those teams. This is still largely the best team that we've ever had. But I agree, and so your point is what I'm driving at there, is that ultimately it is 2 points. But the circumstances are important to the discourse of it, and you're right, is that we were much better this time around than we were at the weekend. It didn't get us any more points, but I feel at least it proves that there's no lack of desire on the players' part. If we perform the same 2 weeks on the bounce and we've been out fought and out muscled and out desired, I'd be thinking, shit, that's a problem. I don't know if it's more of a problem that we've lost in 2 different... we've drawn. There's a psychological loop there. Whether we've drawn in 2 different ways is more of a problem or not. Probably not. but I was encouraged to see how pissed off the players were and how pissed off the crowd were. You know, we didn't turn on the Liverpool players, we didn't turn on ourselves. Everyone got behind the mutual cause of fuck Crystal Palace. We want to try and win this game. I think we'd have all been more encouraged had we managed to nick something, of course. But
yeah, I think for me, like looking back at last season on the whole, it was the draws I think that cost us the league title. And the evidence of this season so far is we've started with 2 draws. Yeah. That's a worrying concern and a continuation of what was happening at the start of last season as well. Maybe not the first couple of games, but certainly in that first sort of 3 months and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So the big problem for Liverpool right now, for me anyway, is that we don't look good up front yet. And that's to be expected, because we've lost Sadio Mane and we've brought in Nunes. And the big encouragement is, you know, Diaz found his shooting boots. Yeah. That's a big encouragement. And he was dog shit up until the point he put that ball into the back of the net, to be quite honest with you and blunt about it. I thought he was terrible. I thought Liverpool couldn't get him into the game. I thought we couldn't find any space. And credit to Nathaniel Clyne, he was completely on him, a yard away the entire time. It was when Diaz was coming back to the halfway line, Clyne, he went up there because he knew he had 4 lads behind him and he was able to do it. It was game plan. Like, but that's a concern in and of itself. You know, when a team plays the way that they want and their game plan works, you've got to be a little bit concerned about that. Especially when Liverpool's game plan didn't work. You know, when Crystal Palace kind of knew what Liverpool were going to try and do. You know, we've seen maybe that Diaz isn't necessarily the finisher over the last 6 months, but he is an architect for us. When you take him out, Liverpool therefore struggled to get the ball into Nunes' feet and Salah's feet in areas where they can do a little bit of damage. So that's a concern at the moment for me, to be honest with you. I think that the midfield wasn't great. You know, there was bright sparks from Elliott, but it wasn't until we went to a 2-man midfield essentially with Henderson and Fabinho and threw a little bit of caution to the wind, and we got Trent a lot higher and a lot more inside and a lot more involved, that we started to create things. Because at that point, Crystal Palace's game plan went out the window for what our first 11 was going to do. So I can understand why we had more success. We did something we've never done before, and Crystal Palace didn't react to it.
I disagree slightly in that. I thought Diaz was quite good for the first 15. I thought Elliott was brilliant in the first 15. But I agree. Well, actually, I think we keep doing this. I did this in my initial assessment of it. I went back and watched the first half an hour again, and it's actually more like the first 20, 25, half an hour than 15. I always psychologically.
I thought we were brilliant. I thought we were brilliant until the second they scored. I don't think we reacted well to their goal till half time.
That's what, and there was, because that's the point. I think we were fine. We were absolutely fine, as you're right, until about the half an hour mark-ish, their goal, and then everything dropped off until the sending off, and it was dire in between that. But the start was good, and the end was the end was brilliant up until the final 5 or 6 minutes when we realised we were kind of futile, and they played the game really well and sorted it out.
Liverpool live by the sword, die by the sword, and the sword is we push forward and you can counter on us. Our defence against that counter attack is hopefully that there's a high line that catches you offside, and there's a big fella in midfield called Fabinho, and they're like your two fire breaks. I mean, like, they're your safety nets, they're your fire doors. We know, you know, there's a chance that you can count on us, but we bank on Fabinho to do his job and stop you. And if not, hopefully you're offside, or one of the quick centre backs can catch you up. All 3 of those things let us down. Fabinho hasn't started the season well at all. He's not played well both games, and that I think that's.
I don't think he starts that game if Henderson's fit enough to play the 90s.
There's a chance. I think he was poor against Fulham. I think everyone was. I don't think he was great against Palace, and he gets completely spun by Eze. He makes a show of him basically, and then what you're hoping on is that they've mistimed that pass by a second because it's so close. And I think Nat Phillips he knows what he's meant to do. He's got no chance of winning trying to keep up with Zaha, so he has to try and play him offside. And it's centimetres, but it's just wrong. And then I'll be honest, I don't think
it was telling. How noticeably better Joe Gomez is as a centre half.
He's got pace for a start. Yeah, like Nat Phillips. This is the issue we've got. If you're looking at it from a really critical point of view, and I think we can do this, is that like the injuries over the summer are all muscle injuries. Something's gone wrong that this keeps happening now, and I think Jürgen's referenced this. He said it was like a witch doctor, or a witch was in the training ground every day. It was something else. Well, how many muscle injuries have we got? And I get it because we had such a tough season, but then we know for the fact they come back, they go to Asia, they get flogged, they're doing triple sessions in Austria, and people are just dropping like flies. I wondered in hindsight if they think, you know what, we could have went the City approach of didn't really play the games and just let the bank, rather than banking on being super fit, super strong and working. Can you just get through on your quality for a bit? Because I've got no doubt if Liverpool had their full team available they would have more options. They'd be able to do something a bit different. Like, with all due respect, like sticking Fabio Carvalho in search of a winner at this point in the season isn't what you want.
Nearly happened though, didn't it?
Very close.
It was a belter of a volley.
But you want to be bringing on Jota, and you want to,
but the Jota thing's got nothing to do with how we pre-seasons. That's that was with how.
No, but I think
Portugal post-seasons.
But he trained with us, an undiagnosed injury.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
But he picked up.
Do you know what this reminds me of? And this may go a little bit over your head, but if anyone F1 fans are watching, right, they changed the regulations at the end of last year. They completely changed how the aerodynamics work on the car. Mercedes have been incredible since they brought the hybrid engine in, won everything pretty much bar last season's Drivers' Championship, and they changed the regulations, and Mercedes are supposed to be one of the top sides. Now, I remember sitting here in the summer with you guys saying at some point whoever's got the best sports science is probably going to win the league between Liverpool and Manchester City. And right now there was two very different approaches. Mercedes had an approach for this year, Red Bull had an approach for this year. Mercedes got it wrong and they're now third in the championship. Like, Ferrari have jumped them. Like, right now that looks kind of what Liverpool and Man City are playing out like. Man City look like they've got it right. Liverpool look like they've got the sports science thing wrong at this stage of the season. Now what happens at the back end or the middle of the season, we don't know, but right now it looks like Liverpool are hurting from their approach for the sports science.
It's interesting. Cyberun, there's just done a few tweets on this, and obviously if you want to get a more of an insight into the sports science side of things, and Cyberun's a brilliant follow. We had a good expert insight chat with him a few weeks ago on Plus, which is still very valid, because I talked to him about Liverpool's pre-season methodology and prepared him for the World Cup year and what have you.
Even though he hadn't prepared for that.
No, that was it.
was that the first part?
That was me chatting about like Curtis Jones and all kinds. I just threw my curveball. It's not asking.
Well, I haven't prepared for that, but I've got the stats here anyway. No.
Spreadsheets in front of him. He knows his others. But yeah, it's we don't know because there's intangibles, isn't there? Of Liverpool went so hard last year, and it's all the lads who went additionally hard, particularly Jota. Well, the fact that Jota and Kelleher both basically picked up injuries on the internationals playing in the Nations League, the whatever the fuck that competition is, and we've been playing a little bit of catch up with that.
I don't know. I find it weird that the season ended so late for us, and then there was internationals, and this season started effectively 2 weeks early, and we've done the same thing.
We might have fucked ourselves, sorry Steve, by trying to go big against Man City. That's probably where we've gone wrong.
Maybe
we decided to treat the Community Shield like a proper game of football. Yeah. And we conditioned ourselves to peak there, but we peaked ahead of time, which is why they then had a friendly the next day, and they were trying to have another friendly the week after. But then subsequently, we had so many injuries that we weren't able to put sides out. The proper side we wanted against Strasbourg, and ended up cancelling the Villa one after Fulham because it was a pointless endeavour for everyone.
Pep Linder said at his book launch that their whole pre-season was focused on the Community Shield, and like we wanted to beat Man City, we wanted to win. He said that in the launches on that's available on YouTube. Anyone goes and watch it, by the way, on now. He says it, and again, whatever it is, something's gone wrong. The fact is, we've got half the squad are injured. We're trying to integrate new players. Like, if Darwin Núñez isn't ready, and I'm not sure he is, what I would say is that I'm very encouraged by how often he gets in front of goal. He finds himself in front of that goal a lot. If he can put one in a couple of times, maybe a few times, it might help. But like, he gets in good positions. He had 2 chances with the goalie right in front of him. That's really encouraging. I think it was 5 shots in the 57 minutes he was on the pitch. I'm right in saying.
I'm just saying Darwin Núñez. Unless he is a 30-goal a season striker, so many Liverpool fans are going to fucking hate him. By the way,
he's going to miss. He's going to miss. Sadio got this as well, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sadio
Mane gets to pick the ball up and dribble past like 2 or 3 men and do all that kind of stuff. Like, I can see, unless he can, and this is why I think Liverpool's game plan's gone out the window. He's not meant to be starting games of football.
Should be Jota, shouldn't it? Yeah. It should be Jota
or Bobby. Yeah. You know, that's what we're clearly geared up for, because he's such an awkward footballer, and he very much needs to be protected and eased into life at Liverpool, which we thought we'd done brilliantly up until that game on Monday.
To be fair, Jürgen said you guys wouldn't have seen it because you were in the ground, but the BT guys were. So what do you thinking? Why are you starting Darwin Núñez? And Jürgen said, we've literally got no other strikers left. Yeah. And that's the issue we found ourselves. And we're there in a few different places. With all due respect, there shouldn't be a Premier League game for Liverpool where Nat Phillips is playing the second game of the season, and where James Milner has to play in midfield on the second game of the season. Like, good options, sound. They're your reserve options. Like, they have to play. Yeah. Something's not right, and it's killing it. It's really affects us. we've got a week now to try and get a few lads back fit and fine. Like, I was surprised Naby never come on, but again, we don't know how fit he is.
My theory on this, by the way, and this is where it's tough for us to fathom ourselves, because we won't see the benefit of this, if ever. But we won't notice it because it shouldn't be a noticeable thing. Joe Gomez, Naby Keita and Jordan Henderson, we effectively took a huge gamble on that Crystal Palace game, and it was on those 3 footballers. In an ideal world, all 3 of them start that game, and you're a much better team, and you probably have a much better control over the football match. But we've looked at it, and again through the sports science of things, and gone, we can't risk those lads in the same way. Jordan Henderson gets told Jordan Henderson can't do the 90. We need to be careful with him. Gomez has trained once in the week, haven't had a knock, and particularly the Gomez one, because if you start him and he goes down, that's Nat Phillips for him. You've got Nat Phillips for a month. And I love Nat, and I think he's a very capable centre-half.
He started really well.
He did.
And I am always going to bet on first header of the game, if that's possible, as Nat Phillips.
Yeah.
I might bet
1 second.
I might bet on the first 2 headers of the game being Nat Phillips, because he won both. And I was thinking, is this a bet that I can do? Because this is on every week. He's playing like...
They soon realised, let's kick it on the floor, lads.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. But you can't play our brand of football with Nat Phillips at centre half.
Can't pass, can he?
No, he's just not good enough.
He can't pass.
He's just
He'll block and everything, but ultimately he carries the ball.
And he's fine, and he understands it. But it's like Mignolet understood how to play, how Liverpool wants to play. He just wasn't anywhere near as good on the ball to make it work. It's like when you watch that Man United game at the weekend, and like David De Gea is doing it in the pass now from the back, and there's a bunch of lads who it's just not a right.
They know what they want to do, they just can't.
Nat Phillips played the right passes. You know, that's what he played the passes that I expect Matip and Konate to play. He just couldn't complete them.
He plays the that's the point. He understands the system. He understands how to play, and that's in some regard for the fifth choice centre half. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know,
slowed us down, unfortunately.
But that's it. You know, in terms of
Liverpool look better attacking when Gomez come on. And again, I understand with that there's a game change, but we have got 10 players at this point. I thought Gomez finished the game really well. I was very encouraged by that.
It was smart by Klopp to bring him on, because it meant that because of his pace over there, he could release the right back a little bit, and he knows Gomez is comfortable into that area.
Zaha did nothing, did he, really, from that point onwards? He had that late chance, obviously, at the back post, but that wasn't really from a counter. But yeah, ultimately, to go back to the very, very start of the point we are now, is that we've got 2 points from Fulham and Palace, and then, like, that's not good enough. It's simple as that. Whatever, there's a million reasons. We play crap, there's injuries, lad decided to headbutt somebody for whatever. But ultimately, no one gives a fuck come the end of the season. You'll look at how many, you play 38 games, how many points you've got, and you don't, it is what it is.
38.
At this moment in time, we'll just survive relegation. Like at this point, we'll be 17th or 16th. But
I need 40 points, mate, to avoid the drop.
I don't know, the Premier League shite. I just think, like I say, somewhere down the line now, and I backed them because of what I always think Liverpool deserve the benefits. I understand, I'm reading the comments here, I'm reading the transfer stuff and all the tweets we get, people blaming us for Liverpool not signing people, which is brilliant.
So can I just say, like, far be it for me to draw too much attention to another Liverpool podcast, but I thought the Anfield Rap's reply to the criticism, like it's us.
Can we get the credit for the...
Yeah, if we're getting blamed for Liverpool not signing players and not having higher standards, then we're also allowed to claim the Club World Championship, the Premier League, the Champions League,
and the
Community Shield, the Super Cup. And I'm having our sharing of the Western Union Cup as well with Sporting Lisbon, just for completeness.
So yeah, back to that. I get it. There's a lot of anxiety about it, and I understand it. I would still back Liverpool to turn this around, because they've got too many good players and a good manager. But if I can see why it feels crap. Like it's uncommon, and it's not what we're used to. Really, we are used to dropping points, but like it often comes a little bit later. Like you go back to last season, we dropped those Brentford and Brighton points, which come back and really kicked us in the nuts a little bit, didn't they? We go things like that. We've done that earlier. Again, we're gonna have to go on a run. At some point now, we have to go on a run where we just win 7, 8, 9 games on a run. And we don't look at the moment. We're not ready for that. The squad's too injured, and the big lad up front just isn't settled yet. And now he's suspended for the next 3 games anyway. Which that actually is the worst part of this. We literally haven't got a striker at the moment.
I mean, it's just on the Nunes stuff. It's just stupid, isn't it? And look, and we get it. But that's my thing on him. And I've been trying to say this all summer. People need to chill the fuck out about Darwin Nunes and how good he is and how good he's going to be and all that, because I think he's got all of the attributes to be a really good footballer. But I we've bought him a season too soon.
In
my opinion, we've not bought an Erling Haaland rival in him. We've bought a lad who can be very useful for us this season, but he's got all the hallmarks for me of a lad who's probably going to score maybe 15, maybe he might get up to 20 all comps. But this season should be about Jota. It should be Diaz, Jota, Salah as the main three, and then he gets to come in and contribute and add. And he'll start some games, but largely he'll be a battering ram for 30 minutes. He'll rack up a few goals and assists and just cause a bit of mayhem around that kind of thing. But he's not. You can see it in his attitude. And I referenced on the final word Fernando Torres. We brought Torres in at it was Torres 23, I think, when we signed him. Torres comes in against Chelsea and gets booted by John Terry left, right and centre. Chelsea rough him up all day long and he's smiling at them and he's winding them up. Yeah, but at the moment I reference is where he pats John Terry on the cheek after getting booted in the air.
Doesn't he ask him like, if you're able to sing what your ma? He says that to him, don't he?
But the point is that Fernando Torres is psychologically prepared for the battle because he's ready for the step up. I'm not sure Nunes is quite ready to be the main man for Liverpool Football Club.
That Brazilian, I said it at the time, I didn't like when he tweets that Brazilian thing after he got booed a little bit in a friendly and then scored a couple of goals in another friendly and he gives it the shush. I was like, I don't like that. I'm with you. And this guy got in his head. I watched the video today of Anderson Nunes battle. I read the Athletic piece. Apparently this stems from pre-season. He had words in that game as well. He's been done, essentially. If that was us doing that to another player, you'd be thinking, fucking brilliant. And all that's going to happen now, he comes back in the derby, and if you're Everton centre-half, you're in his ear. Of course you are.
He's having a laugh with him.
Of course you are. All game, you're poking him and you're nudging him and you're pushing him because like he's reacted to it.
Where I think, I do think he's a little unlucky with it as well, by the way, because it is soft, it is stupid, and we know we've watched the Premier League every week in, week out for the last, 30 years, literally 30 years. I don't think what he does is, in inverted commas, that bad. But it's just ignorant on his part. He thinks he's in a battle with this guy. He thinks Anderson is just as angry as he is. Anderson's not. Anderson is just playing the game and winding up. And I think Nunes stands up to have a chest to chest, like nose to nose. We're angry with each other. Like you see two lads squaring up in the street, and Anderson's not interested in squaring up to him. He's interested in getting him to square up. And you see it because the whole thing, like he does like the whaps his face like a Southern Belle debutante in the turn of the century in America, like I've got the vapors, and then floats down to the floor afterwards. Mission accomplished. And Nunes is expecting it to be like this men shoulder to shoulder, chest to chest, the cavemen kind of situation, and it's just not.
It's also stupid the fact that he's arguing with the ref. 3 seconds before he headbutts
the ref literally getting called over to the situation
because they've had words and they both turn to the ref to say, are you going to sort this? What I would say, and Steve Plunk made this comment in our WhatsApp this morning, it was a good one. A good ref can kind of nip that in the bud because all he needs you should be able to spot that all game. You can tell, because I've refereed before a little bit as well, you can tell when there's lads having a bit of needle with each other, and at some point you just call them over and go, lads, I'm on to this now, do us a favour, both calm down, and just leave it there. It goes the whole game, and he is like Anderson's. Every chance he gets, he's nudging him in the back, he's pushing him, and it would wind you up at some point because he knows what he's doing. He's trying to do it, but it's if you shout the referee to do something about something, turn around and lay your head on someone. That's just idiotic. Yeah. And again, I've said there are a few shows. I hate repeating myself too much, but like Steven Gerrard did it. I remember Michael Owen at Old Trafford getting himself sent off. We saw Wayne Rooney do these.
Did it at Old Trafford.
Yeah, like young players sometimes just do stupid things, and they'll all do it. And even Carragher throwing that quid, he was a younger player, but it was stupid. You can't do it. Gary Neville said on Sky, didn't he kicked the ball at the Everton fans. Sometimes players just do things that you just can't explain, and it just hope he learns from it. Because now what's going to happen now? Every single centre half in the league for the next 30 odd games he plays are going to be kicking him and pushing him and poking him.
But this is where it's an advantage to us, because now you have to play off that. You fall down when you get it. You keep falling down. You keep talking to the referee. You got no help from that referee. No. That referee is partly to blame for what happens.
He's a crap referee.
He is partly to blame. There was time after time when Nunes did go. You watch that highlight video, that 90-second highlight video, and every time he's there pleading with the referee, have you seen this? Have you seen this? He's doing the right thing. And then the one side the referee is fucking watching.
He throws his
head at him because that's just stupid. I'm not trying to say here that Nunes is in the right, but he's got to got to keep going to the referee like that. He's got to keep trying to plead with him, and he's got to use that to his advantage now. There's no more sort of messing around with this. He knows that every defender in the Premier League is going to try and do this, and you've got to stand up and make sure that you're the one that comes out better this time, and better to learn this early on in the season than later on in the season where everything's hanging on the line.
It's got to be a catalyst. You've got to turn every negative into a positive, and Liverpool are very good at doing that. But just before I want to expand on that point, but anyone who thinks that's a headbutt, by the way, has either never been headbutted or has never headbutted someone.
I think it is a butt. I think I think because it's the if I'm pushing my head towards you, there's no force behind it. He does give it. He isn't like fucking.
I don't think you lead with your chest if you're headbutting someone.
Yeah,
I think it's more like that. And his head's there.
Yeah, Dan headbutts Marco Materazzi. Yeah. That's a headbutt.
It's more it's the upwards motion of it that makes, and because
he's standing up though.
It's stupid. Look, he's trying to make fake. I'm not saying he's not trying to make contact with him. He is. He's trying to get right up.
And he hits him with his head, but it's not a headbutt. It's not a Birkenhead kiss.
No, I know.
Let's put it that way.
It's just closer to like one of Honda's special moves than it is a full-on headbutt in it. Like,
yeah. Okay.
Sorry, just to say that the catalyst thing, you're right, because in terms of the learning curve, at least that's a potential. But you've got to turn that into right. There you go, mate. Now everyone's going to do this to you now on. At least you know now. At least you know what not to do. And similarly with Diaz as well, I got a real sense from that Diaz moment, from the red card onwards. That's got to be his arrival at Liverpool. He's been here for half a season already. He's got to play like that now. That's got to be his level, because we saw glimpses of that last season. When he was just he was freed of it all. But it's like, mate, you're a senior Liverpool player now. There's no more. You're not a new lad. You're established. You can't be passive in football matches. I want you fighting and scrapping and clawing and battling for every single footballer that's around you. Go and be a menace to everyone, because he's got that in his locker. I just think he's been a little bit too like second, third fiddle, because he is the new lad, and I can appreciate that. If you're in a front three with Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, there's two guys who've been there.
It's like being on a podcast with you two. I can just.
I know. You
can carry me. You can carry me for a while, yeah.
Yeah, for both of those, that needs to be they both need to be better from.
Yeah, the thing with Diaz is he showed the fight that Mane did. For us, and that's I will not be denied today, and that's something that we were going to miss from Mane. So if Diaz can pick up that and run with that, then that's absolutely brilliant. So he has been reverential, isn't it? That's the right word, isn't it? Yeah. To the other two lads, and rightfully so. But you do have to claim your place within that front three as well, and he's got to be able to stand up and do that. I love the fact that he hit it completely differently to the other shots that he's had for us. He's been trying to bend that ball into the far corner, and this time around he just goes, I'm smacking this fucker, and it's going straight into the back of the net. Yeah. And so that's something that maybe he can have a little go with. But the other thing is now, he's just going to have that confidence to be able to do it time and time again. And, yes, I think Nathaniel Clyne had a really great game against him, but ultimately he still scored. Yeah. He still took that chance on. So if you're going to play him, like you're going to keep him away from goal, he can still shoot. And that's something that we've missed as well for a long time. Since Coutinho left, is that ability to score those types of goals.
Sadio used to score that goal and he kind of stopped scoring it, didn't he?
He stopped scoring those goals 3 years ago, really, didn't he?
No,
Diaz looks like me, like the type of player. Some players before the game, you need to calm them down. Maybe Darwin Núñez. Luis Diaz looks like you need to wind him up. Yeah. He looks like Tottenham when they score, and he gets the equaliser, albeit with a lucky deflection, kind of. But like he was the same in that game. He looks like he lads who just thrives.
Our lads feel a little bit too much like they're aware of the pressure a bit, you know what I mean, and what they're up against this season, and they're aware of the physical exertion that's coming, and I don't think this team functions very well when they're not in the thick of things. I think they function well better when it's just game.
Better in crisis mode than they are.
Yeah, just when you're in battle.
When everything's on the line.
I saw that in Virgil. I saw that with Virgil, both games actually. I think Virgil's looked a little bit like that, just like a little bit dozy, like a little bit sleepy, like. He doesn't sprint after Zaha straight away, and if he does and dives in and launches in front of him, I know it's not his style.
Well, no, but we had this conversation because someone put that in the Facebook group and said that he should be sliding in there. He doesn't slide in because if you commit, then it's a definite goal, because your goalkeeper's already committed to the right hand side. You slide in, commit to the right hand side, and Zaha just cuts back and slots it into the far corner. He's blocking any potential runners in behind. But you're right. But I also do agree a little bit. My fear, and this is not necessarily fan, this just might be me filling the gaps, is I think there's a few of our players going, God, it's going to be a long old slog of a season. I was so knackered at the end of last season. I need to conserve a little bit here. I need to be careful with my body. I don't want to get bent. I don't want to miss games of football. And I think they need to just fucking get over themselves.
Maybe
you've
got to think of what the mindset is. They've just seen about 12 lads go down with muscle injuries. Yeah. They've got to sort of play that within themselves, because if they go down as well, because they're overcommitting to challenges and sprints and all that type of stuff, then you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 lads down, and then what situation are we in?
It just feels a bit, even in the full game, just a bit doughy. Like, he's very intelligent footer. He's done a couple of dozy things recently, and like you say, it might just be a bit of mental fatigue. He played all last season. Then he went away with Holland for a bit. Then he's back pre-season. Before you know it, it's early start. Like, everyone just looks a little bit off it. Do you know what? I don't think there's anyone who you'd say in the whole team who just looks 10 out of 10. Mo Salah was the closest in the Community Shield. He was unplayable. But since then, he hasn't. Again, it's been 2 games, short sample size, and he's done okay in both of them. But nobody really looks on it. And again, you have to look at City because they're the benchmark. Kevin De Bruyne looks like just fucking brilliant again. Yeah. Like, and he's on it straight away. And again, I just reference it maybe in hindsight, and they'll never admit this. Maybe the summer went wrong.
Yeah, and also again,
for me, Robbo looks peak Robbo.
Do you think?
I don't think he can't finish. Like that but just peak Robbo. Yeah. But I think he's been up and down that wing. He's not had any problems defensively, and he's the outlet ball at the moment for us. He's the one, which is not good, by the way. Robbo being the back stick all the time, the only lad that can get free in the box.
He centre forward twice, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought Trent was really good on the night, but I agree, but he wasn't good.
His passing was unbelievable. I think it was 25 progressive passes from your right back, just unbelievable. And again,
it's the style. It's the he gets into the right wing position and he hits a driver into the box, and then he'll hit a floated ball into the box. It's just
the one for Salah's head is unreal. If Salah scores that it was reminiscent of that goal. Remember against Bournemouth, he played something similar, and Salah flicked it over the goalie this time. Just wasn't enough on it. But yeah, Trent's passing, yeah, I agree. But overall, I think it's fair to say if you were making a team with a 2 weeks so far, you wouldn't have Liverpool players in it. And you'd have 6 or 7 Man City players in it, maybe.
Diaz has just scored goal of the season.
Yeah, but he hasn't been that good. But I'm with you. The hope is it flips around and it could come post-World Cup, we look fitter, stronger, better for it. But
you've got to be in.
But you got to be able to say that you don't want the gap to be too big. That's exactly what happened last season. We looked amazing and we just couldn't quite.
I'm not sure. I think we've been very good at chasing, but I think there comes a point where you've chased in futility too many times. I don't think they'll want that. It's just a mad season. It just feels like that. I think we're all feeling it. We were walking away from the game the other night, weren't we, Chris? I said I'm not really ready to go put through the ringer at this stage.
But I'm not accepting of it's a mad season, because tell me when the last one wasn't.
Yeah. But
you're going back 5 years.
But you know what I mean. But what we'll never know is it's 3 seasons, mad seasons stacked back to back to back. We'll never be able to calculate what that.
And no, should we have to?
Feels like.
No, should we have to? Yeah. Everyone's dealing with these mad seasons. It's not just us. Like that's the point.
But Liverpool are dealing with it in a different way,
But if the sports science is at fault, they're not. It's their fault.
Yeah, no, I mean psychologically. I'm talking about how no one else has chased Man City for 3 years, whilst also managing all the things that Liverpool have. And everyone's been through COVID, and everyone's been through no fans football, but no one's done that whilst also having to compete with Manchester City at the same time.
But Manchester City have had to compete with us.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And everyone's been trying to catch us.
Yeah.
So I don't see that there's any difference there. And Chelsea have won a European Cup in that time as well.
Expectations the only different thing.
Chelsea won a European Cup. Their expectations last year at the start of the season, whether they win the league. You know, these are the things that happen to most of the top clubs in Europe every single season, and we all have to deal with it. And what's disappointing is it could quite quickly turn into another lost year, because of that. But I don't buy at all that it's a mad season. We can't just accept that right now. We've got to fight. We've got to continue to get better. No. We've got to chase. We've got to improve, and we've got to get past it. You can't no point crying about it. You're in a battle. You've got to keep fucking going. You can't stop and whinge about it.
Yeah, 100%. No, when I say it's a mad season, it just is, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's
they all are. That's my point. They're all mad seasons for some reason or another.
No, I absolutely agree. It's just you wonder how much. Had again the toll that's taken, because again literally just being a passive observer of it has been absolutely fucking exhausting. We haven't had to put the actual running in whilst also having all the same sort of mental ups and downs that go with it. That's what. But again, everything we're presenting here is based on 2 games of football, and it should be based on 3, and it's not, because we're not even counting. It's like we beat Man City 3 weeks ago, and it's like it doesn't count. We should be.
It was a friendly.
I know. But to the point is that the idea that it's totally fucked, I think, is a bit premature. But we're all in agreement that if you go and draw, if you draw it again and again and again, then that you're in a top 4 fight, not a title challenge. You've got to prove.
I think if we draw the next 2 games, we're in a fight for second with ourselves. That's the difference.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I still think we're miles better than 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the league.
I think if we were to draw 3 or 4 games at the start of the season, and you're on 4 points after 5 games, 5 points after 5 games. You just are.
What I mean is, you're in a fight with yourself in that you've just got to get better, and you now then start to not believe that you can do it. Yeah. It's not like them being better than us. It's, can you mentally get over what's happened to you in the first 4 games of the season?
But you might be. That's the thing. Because this is the hardest thing to judge, is that actually you don't know your team's not good enough until you've see it. Yeah, exactly. We've got no idea how good Liverpool actually are this season. Have we made too many changes? I don't think we have. I think we're fine.
If anything, I don't think we've made enough.
But it's more because of the injuries that we've been forced to make too many changes. There's too many lads playing games of football for us now who shouldn't be. Nunes shouldn't be starting games of football. Carvalho shouldn't be getting chucked on to win games of football for you.
Now Phillips, James Milner. Yeah.
You know, these are lads who are all fine squad options, and you get.
I mean, the fact that we played the Community Shield, Milner comes on for 20-30 minutes and then basically plays the 90 the next day is mental.
Yeah,
like that's not planned in any way, shape or form, and that's before the season even started.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's madness.
Elliot the same. Okay, Carvalho gets a couple of minutes at the end, doesn't he? And then
love him going up to the crowd, by the way, and giving it all that the other night.
Elliot?
No, Carvalho.
Oh, did he?
When he came on within 5 minutes, I think he'd won a throw in or something, and he's in front of the Kenny Dalglish stand, and he's like that to the crowd. I'm like, yes, you can tell he's mates with Elliot. You can tell he sort of watches and seeing how to do it, and he got a reaction from the crowd, and certainly from my side of the cop as well.
Yeah.
I think writing us off now is stupid, but you would also you'd be equally as foolish to say you're not concerned.
You can't sit here and go, it's sound, it'll be sound.
It's like it's like on your car, the light's on, and you're just hoping it's that the light's faulty. I've had this where my emissions light come on, I was thinking, please don't be me exhaust, please. And it's just the emissions light was broken, I can fix that. But that light, these 2 drawers of that light, is it we are fucked, or actually it's a little tiny issue that needs resolving? I'm hoping it's the latter, but what's concerning me, Paul, again, I know moving on a little bit, is so with the injury, we haven't even got return dates for some of these lads. Even can I say, what's that? Yeah. When's Jota back? We don't know. Who knows? There's so much uncertainty about it. Kevin Keller, what's happening? And again, sub goal. We know nothing. Something's not right, and it doesn't smell right. And usually that's an indication that it's something's a bit fishy. And again, this is where the 1 game a week actually benefits us. I usually think Liverpool thrive on 2 games a week.
We need to play 2 games a week to get up to our level, but at the minute we haven't got enough
players
to play 2 games a week. Yeah.
It's a blessing in disguise. We just need some lads back fit. We haven't got a striker next week.
No, I know.
Carvalho's playing up front.
Yeah, I'd just say this: 13 years we've been doing this now, and we've been sat here like when Liverpool have had slow starts to the season, when we all thought, well, maybe this will be the season we win the league, and you know we sat here going, oh, that'll be fine. We'll pick it up. So I'm long in the tooth enough to recognise the delusion of being a football fan when things are not right. And you go,
how many of those 13 years did we have a slow start and win the league?
Exactly. Never. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. But this is the
damn it.
No, but that's what that's what I'm saying is that I'm not so stupid as to think that this is not, you know, we could be quite easily concerned about this. But if you're going to trust the team to actually just figure it all out and be fine, of them, the balance of likelihood is it's this manager, it's this team, it's these players.
From any of those 13 seasons,
they will figure it out. It's just how long it takes them to do it.
And also, and again,
that's the
without being having to go down it, you know, no guarantees or anything. Like City have slow starts to the season every fucking year and win the league.
They lost and drew. Yeah,
They never take maximum points from the first 5 games. They often drop points in 2. They on average drop points in 2 games in the first 5 or 6 of a season every season without fail. It's just we're living in this like too early point. And this is the problem with us doing this, and these just conversations.
24/7 news cycle.
We'd be having this in the pub if we weren't doing it here, and everyone around the world is having similar conversations and fears and all that kind of stuff. Is that there's not enough data at the moment for us to draw any reasonable, things. All we can do is draw on our previous experience, which equally, going back to the mad season thing, isn't totally relevant to this because there's never been a 3rd season on the back of a run of seasons like this before, and all these kind of mitigating circumstances.
My daughter goes to nursery, right, and every morning they have to walk in, they've got loads of like monsters on the wall, and you get 2 name tags, and you have to put and each monster got like a feeling next to it. So how are you feeling today? And she might walk over and go happy but tired or something. If it was me now, I would be optimistic and concerned. They would be the 2 things. I trust this team fully, but
we've watched too many seasons where
I can't ignore this monster either.
I've fucked up a title challenge in the first 5 games of the season for us to be like, this will all be fine. This is absolutely fine. Sat here burning house.
Dog fire.
Exactly.
I am. Yeah. So for Jessica's nurse, I am very much optimistic monster, concerned monster right now, and I think that's the general feeling. I think there's a lot of people who are concerned,
angry,
panic.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but.
Anger, panic is the term. Yeah, there is.
Heads on fire kind of stuff.
Anger, blame Redmen, and the feel rap. The emotions.
Seems to be a popular thing right now.
Liverpool draw a game. For media fault.
What I'd also point out on this, by the way, it's why things like that don't really concern me. I think they're quite funny. Is because, again, I've done this. I've written books about the seasons and troll through the YouTube comments and put them in the books and that kind of stuff for the Champions League winning season and the league winning season. Is the worst it ever tends to get under Klopp is we'll draw 2 games back to back, and that happens all the time in seasons, particularly in the first half of season. But it's normally draw Champions League game, draw Premier League game that follows or before it, and that is when the comment and the feeling online is the most toxic it ever is, and that's when whatever the perceived narrative problem is. So it's what position haven't we bought? So when we won the Champions League, it was
I can't understand how one midfielder solves our 13-14 injuries. By the way,
no, absolutely. There's more. Honestly, it's like, I get it. People want another midfielder.
Oh my God, we need another midfielder because Nathaniel Phillips is playing centre half.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Because we've got no centre forwards.
There's no creativity in this side. I mean, Alex, he was like 4. Darwin Núñez missed 2 chances from the 4-yard line. Or something. There was enough chances made.
Exactly. We created more chances than any other Premier League team in the first 2 games of the season.
Score some of them.
Our creativity is not the problem. It's lads sticking the ball in the back of the net, and we own the best goal scorer in the Premier League. By the way, who scored 1 goal for us this season, which was a bobble off Núñez that he knocked in. It's early doors, yeah. We'll be fine. But to tell you, to the point, when it feels like it's on top and it feels like the problems feel exacerbated and they feel bigger than they are because the reaction's bigger. But honestly, every time Liverpool draw 2 games back to back, we get Redmen are in the pockets of FSG, and it's like, honestly, it's like I could time it. It's like by clockwork, so it always is the way. We get this every fucking year. Even when Liverpool win everything, but we were the champions of everything, and we had we have had these feelings in the past, so it'll probably be alright.
What I would say, just to tie ball very, very quickly, is very quickly, we probably should still buy a midfielder.
Yeah, we're not going to.
We're not going to.
But I can't get drawn into this again. I did half an hour on this on my channel the other day.
Great title.
Yeah, Liverpool will buy a midfielder. They absolutely will.
Probably next year.
When the right one's available to buy, they'll just fucking buy one. They're definitely going to buy a midfielder. They're not going to not buy a midfielder forever. They're going to buy a midfielder. And I said this is the point on this, and it's exacerbated by our point right now. We're going to end up going to Old Trafford with Carvalho in the front 3, and he's a really good player, but he's not first team material yet for Liverpool until he proves it. And he might do it at Old Trafford. He might become a Liverpool legend, and he might be go time from there in. And Elliott's similar the same. These are 2 wonder kids that we've got here, and they're not quite ready to be the main men for Liverpool, which should perfectly evidence to the problem with just buying a midfielder. And they said there must be someone out there. There might be, but we need to buy the right midfielder, not a midfielder. Liverpool need to buy the right players. If you're buying a player he needs to be much better, or in fact he needs to be either exactly on the level of Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho, or realistically he needs to be better than them. Otherwise it's a complete fucking waste of everyone's time. It's a complete waste of time and money. We don't need bodies. We've got bodies. Everyone agrees we've got bodies. I don't think even the people who are like it's a catastrophic failure. Everyone knows we've got bodies. It's quality, and you need quality, because if you don't have quality, you'd end up undercutting what you're trying to do. There's no point going into the transfer market to buy average, because you're better off playing a kid with potential who already understands how to play than bringing someone in cold and expecting an average footballer to get beyond expectation results. Is just madness. It's stupid, absolutely stupid. Right, we'll do more. We've got some super chats which I'll read out once we come back from this very short break before we dive into Manchester United.
It feels like you've spoken to a wide range of people.
Well, we did. We spoke to Steve Rotherham, who was really good. We spoke to Andy Burnham as well, as a Mancunian mayor and an Everton fan. And Steve was great, recalling the 1977 FA Cup final. He said we were beaten by 2, and he uses a very bad word to describe the goal. He said, and you must quote me directly on that. But it does involve a player and a manager. But one of my favourite stories was told by Phil Thompson, and Phil was absolutely great. I mean, when he was talking about the good times for Liverpool, his face was wreathed in smiles, and when he was talking about the bad times, it was grimacing, typical Phil. And he said this story about when Liverpool had been knocked out in that 1999 game, and Gerard Houllier had arranged them to go away for a few days to play a local team somewhere in France, and they flew out from Manchester Airport. When they got to Manchester Airport, bad luck would have it, they were met by Manchester United flying out to a Champions League quarter-final, and obviously accompanied by an awful lot of their fans. Of course, they see Phil, who they recognise as Soccer Saturday, massive symbol of Liverpool, the fan who came from the Kop and played. So, of course, they get stuck straight into Phil. Phil said, I should have said nothing, I should have stood back. And then he said, but you know me. And he said, he started tearing into them, we've won this, we've won that, you haven't. He said, I shouldn't have done it. He said, but I couldn't help myself. But he said, on a more serious point, he said it was one of the worst times of his career at Liverpool, because it came home to him just how far ahead of Liverpool United were. And he said they then went and lost to this team of locals in France, and it sort of crystallised all the thoughts himself and Gerard Houllier had about rebuilding Liverpool, the pain of what they'd suffered at the airport, the pain of the defeat to these local guys, sort of French third division team when they won away. They came home, they decided to rebuild the team. Hippier, Henschels, all those era of players came in. So out of that pain came the success of the treble of Liverpool won in 2001. And it was just seeing Phil's face describing it all. And also in your mind's eye, you can see Phil thinking, I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything, I'm saying something, and tearing into them.
Hey, yes, they was doing Liverpool Library last week. The book is there.
Yeah, Jim White and not that Jim White, the other Jim White, and Phil McNulty. Yeah, Red on Red, really good. So building up to Man United, yeah, they were really cool. So it's streaming on Plus right now. The whole chat. It's essentially some of the biggest fixtures and biggest talking points around United. Bit of a chat on
Liverpool United.
What did I say?
Not just Man United.
And obviously, and our rivalry with them. So it's essentially a lot of the chat was like, when we were good, they were crap. Then they were good and we were crap, and then we're good and then we're crap again. So it's a lot of like.
It is the maddest rivalry in footy in that.
It's not a footy rivalry because we're never good at the same time. Yeah. Essentially that, but we just fucking hate each other. Yeah, essentially. And it is. Some people put it down to like it being a city on city thing, but like Evertonians don't really hate Man United or Man City fans and stuff. It is a Liverpool. It's a footy thing.
It's a success thing.
Yeah,
yeah, and
it's having to endure you being crap, but it's other team from Manchester being really good
and vice versa.
It's because it's more than footy as well, isn't it? It's always, even you can take it into music, you can take it into work, like going back even further and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm raging about the canal
still. It's the fact that they put boats on both the fucking badges, mate, to fucking have for us.
The first chapter is called "Who Cares About the Canal." If you go to, by the way, to let everyone know, if you go to the social channels, we're giving some of these away. Ross is doing a couple of.
The book is called.
It's Red on Red by Phil McNulty and Jim White. It's out now, by the way. It's really good. I recommend it. But yeah,
what I was doing there was hurrying you up.
Ross is giving them away. Chat socials.
Yeah, you would have come to reading the title, but I wanted to read it now so we can move on. Sounds red on red. Brilliant. Get involved. Super chat. Gareth Baird, he's been a member for 22 months. Says, this will help the positivity, lads. We play United away next and they lost 4-0 last week. YNWA. Brilliant. Jamie McLennan says, red from Australia, travelling to Liverpool in October when we play Arsenal away. Any pubs you recommend watching the game in? Love your work, boys. Go to Hotel Anfield or go to one of the ones around the ground, mate. Good atmosphere, good vibe, and all that good stuff as well.
And if you go into watch it in Hotel Anfield, I'd recommend going to the park beforehand. It's not something I have done for years, but if you want to sing song with the atmosphere beforehand, go to the park, get yourself a home bake, walk around to Hotel Anfield, watch it in Hotel Anfield. Job done.
Yeah. Dickie Oy Red says, unbeaten after 2 games. Invincibles is on, boys. There you go. Absolutely.
The 10 more draws.
The 38 points Invincibles.
Yeah. We should do this. That'd be amazing.
If we get a gold trophy, if he comes 16.
Get one made out of tinfoil. Yeah, it's the championship trophy next season. Scott Hawks, the strange structure of this season seems to have caused us to go very hard and short in pre-season. That's extended into the first few games. We're suffering early to benefit as the games build up, but it's a big gamble. It is a big gamble.
It's a mad season.
Yeah.
Why did no one make that point today?
Why have no one made that point before? But
I agree.
The problem is that I think we've gone for this plan. But the thing is, you can't be building up resilience if you're injured, and it's more likely that the lads who have been injured are just going to get injured again as the season progresses. Because that was a little bit, I was like, well, and there's one point Cyber just made. Everyone's going to have loads of injuries this season because of the World Cup thing and the shortened pre-season and everything that goes on around it, and the back of 3 mad seasons. But it doesn't mean that we're not. It's not like you get it out the way. It's not like COVID where you become immune for 3 months or whatever off the back of it. You've been out for 2 weeks with a groin injury,
and you get a calf. Getting lashed straight back in.
Yeah, but you get a calf injury a week after that, you know. And so that's the one thing is that I hope Liverpool just get a grip on it, because we did it. We were okay with that last season. We had a few injuries to start, and then we had a few in a bit, and then we were quite good the back end of the season in terms of fitness and availability. We were great, but yeah, we maybe it undone us a little bit.
Do
by
what
that
would
point.
have been an because it's all like the sports science thing's all theory, isn't it? Until this season, because it's never happened this way before.
It's a mad season.
The Brazilian league, are they the ones where they have 2 seasons in one year?
Well, they might do, but Argentina definitely does.
Right, maybe we should have got a sports scientist from there.
Scotland tend to that.
I'm not sure that's a season, personally. They have like
seven
games against them. But like, you know, if you bring a sports scientist in from over there, like, so like, right, this is what we want you to do this time around.
Yeah, definitely. As it's just said, Paul Tierney has an agenda. Just look at previous. Yeah, he's shite. His agenda is
like
he's a shite mank.
And he's bald now as well.
I think he's sort of tried to make himself look like Iniesta.
Yeah.
And it's kind of worked, to be honest, but his quality isn't there
yet. But
he's
a shite mankref, bald mankref. Max Kellerman, City.
Wow, sorry, Steve.
Don't use bald as an insult.
Oh no, it wasn't an insult.
It was.
You did, yeah.
It was so insulting.
Descriptively insulting.
No, it was. No. I was saying this.
It was a describing word. It was a describing word.
Shite and mank with the ref. I'm ref for the insulting words. That was just him describing what he looks like.
It was very insulting and compliment.
It's just because I could have said a shite hairy ref.
You couldn't.
I never would have said that if I did. Max Kellerman. City have won 4 titles in 5 years. Wake up, clowns.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I'm very much aware.
Yeah, we could really do with Liverpool waking up, because the only team we're going to stop Man City winning titles are Liverpool, which is stupid pressure.
Someone should tell Liverpool this. This would be constructive criticism.
Be new. I'm sure Barella will be nice and cheap, says Ramadan. Yeah, I bet we could pick him up for buttons and just lash him in, no problem whatsoever. John Lee David Blackshaw, the legend that he is, member for 18 months. Did we think we wouldn't have injuries after the effort of last season? I knew this was going to be a difficult start, however, I believe, and God, have I missed football. Yeah, it
wasn't away long enough for me to miss it.
Yeah, I enjoyed being back. And here's one thing before we move on. I enjoyed the game. On the other night, I enjoyed the match because we did play well for the start of the game. I was a bit annoyed that our best spell happened at the opposite end of the pitch, which is so hard for me to see. Yeah. But like the pedal and like the excitement, and I was like that the chase once we were down to 10 men was thrilling. Like I was on the edge of my seat. I was stood up for the whole game, but I was like, you know, like loads of moments where is he gonna get it?
There was loads of it. I tell you what, I don't know what it was like where you were, but the cop was hot. at the back in 2-0.
Was it? I was
my days,
nicely
mate.
comfortable. I mean, I had to take my coat off.
We were dripping, absolutely dripping within the first 15 minutes, and that was just because of the footy.
Because of Luis Diaz.
Honestly, it was ridiculously hot, but it was so good to be back in there because. And the reason I said it wasn't away long enough, it was a really shit pre-season in terms of watching football, and it always is. It's just not the same. But when you get back into the ground or when you're watching a real game with actual shit on the line, it's why you love football. It's why you feel the feelings. And like that was the thing when Nunes got sent off. That post that was like such a good atmosphere because it's never more fun than when it's narky.
Yeah, I agree. Positive narkiness. Speaking of which, Man United. Next Monday.
It's fucking not positive about them. They're shit.
They are a shit show, which is great. My slight concern on this, and this is where we're at, because this is like, we don't know how Liverpool are going to go. We've drawn 2 games of football. There's anxieties and fears all around it. Them being crap is no salve to me, because it just adds to you're going to beat them at Old Trafford. They are shite, and we should beat them at Old Trafford. But I have grown up. And Everton are exactly the same, but on the opposite end of the spectrum. Manchester United have done nothing but disappoint me. They've never given me anything I truly want in football. So if you put your eggs in needing Man United to be something, they will never be that for you. So if you need them to be crap, they'll be good. If you need them to be good, they'll be crap. And there shouldn't be no expectation that we go and win at Old Trafford, although there should be, because they're shite and we're really good. But yeah, I just could do with almost this game being done and the guarantee of knowing there's 3 points in the bag, because it's going to be more stressful than I think we could all do with at the moment.
They're the worst team in the league at the minute, and that's the positive. The negative is, have they bottomed out? Was that rock bottom, and now the only way is up? So that's Ten Hag finding out what he can and can't do. Like there's talk he might move Martinez into midfield already after
Brilliant.
2 games.
Can I just say, by the way, great, because he's no taller for putting him in midfield.
Yeah. This is where you're putting that Phillips up front against them. But like, Brentford made a show of them. Like 4-0 flattered Man United. It could have been 8. Like, they were crap. Like, but again, he got them in the next day and he had them running. Oh, brilliant, yeah, whatever. But
did he have them in at 9:30 again? Because that's what they were made up with.
They ran 13k because Brentford.
They didn't fucking run at the weekend.
That's
so
the point.
Play.
Well, that's what
that's
they did.
Literally what he did. He said
made them run the difference.
Ran the difference in the team. Again, brilliant. Blah blah whatever. That is nonsense. But my only worry is, have they bottomed out? Has he learned a few things that he has to go and change? And now he's got, from it was Saturday he played. So now he's got he's got 7, 8, 9 days now to fix what he knows. Some of that's going to be hard because the players are shit, and you can't change that in a week. They are trying desperately to buy anyone. Their scattergun approach to transfers is just baffling. So from Arnautovic to Rabiot to Casemiro, he was linked.
That was a brilliant one last night. There was like a 15-minute spell where it come out like Man United are interested in Casemiro. Casemiro wants to stay 15 minutes later by the same United fan.
Casemiro says no.
I was like, fucking brilliant. Yeah. At least he didn't drag it on all summer for
Roy Hodgson, optimism to head slump gif. Yeah.
Frankie de Jong. There's loads of this going on. So I don't trust that they're going to get it right in a week. I still think Ten Hag is a good coach when we're done at Ajax, but he was stupid at the weekend. Picking that team against that team was just mental, like bafflingly stupid. We're going away to a set piece team, a really good, strong physical team. Brighton are good, by the way. Let's just pick every short lad we've got.
Was it you that was telling me about he'd not made the decision of who was playing alongside Martinez?
Didn't make the decision on the partner for Martinez until Thursday. Like in the build up to the
and then subs Martinez for the other lad on the day itself.
Yeah, it's
just
mental.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And the thing with Martinez being a midfielder, he's obviously played that DM role before. Like so,
not under Ten Hag though.
I was thinking, I wonder if he brought him in as a DM. Clearly he hadn't. Clearly he brought him in as a centre half. And if you're spending 60 million on a player and then changing his position after 2 games, you ain't got a Scooby Doo. What's going on, mate?
They've done that with Ericsson already, haven't they? You know what I mean? They've done it with Ericsson.
Ericsson's played up front and DM.
I said they've got a 10. Why have they bought Ericsson? Well, clearly he was their Milner.
If they play Martinez as a DM, then there could be no clearer example of the fact that they haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing, because their 2 main signings of the summer would have played in 2 completely different positions on the pitch in their first couple of games. The Martinez thing, play him as DM, fine. You know, the
midfielder, right?
The reason he's tall to be a DM these days.
Right, there's a big difference between a DM and a centre half. Massive difference, and most centre halves are Martinez, and that's a massive difference. That's height. But the thing with the stuff is, a ball playing centre half is not a ball playing midfielder. No. It is a complete difference. You can't just put a ball playing centre half in and think they're Jorginho. They might be good for a centre half at the back, but it's a completely different fucking level in midfield.
You don't move players forward up the
not
pitch.
Like that. Not a centre half.
You bring them back. You get
unless you're Paul Warrest.
Yeah, which even
you skip a level, you go up front.
Yeah, football, that's the second time I
Something,
talked about him this
something
week.
could go back, play a little bit of centre half, play a little bit of centre forward.
But you
don't do, and that's, it seems panic, because ultimately, again, the small one man DM thing, it's at its day. Kante, brilliant, but also we have people alongside him as well, like Danny Drinkwater, doing bits and pieces alongside him. But Fabinho and Rodri are the current successful template for what your DM wants to look like.
It's the starting point.
Shielding long balls, helping you dominate against, and because target men are coming back into the Premier League as well, there's going to need more of that. I hope they do something stupid. I really do, because I don't see how they're going to be better at passing out from the back, significantly better, because that was shocking.
Well, the thing is,
shocking
if we get Bobby back for this game, we maul them. If they play out from the back,
we will make a show of them.
Especially if you throw a Hendo or a Keita in there as well, if you can.
I think if I'm picking the team now, Keita's the first name on the sheet now in midfield, because he's our best presser. Fucking run them ragged. They can't pass the ball. It isn't the fact that they don't know when to do it. They can't do it. Their technique is dreadful. The only one who's got a bit about it really in there is actually Eriksen, but like he's not. It's baffling what his plan is. Like, the goalkeeper can't kick, the centre-back can't kick, really, Maguire's a joke, the full-backs are shit. And they were trying to play...
They're passing off in the back thing, though, Steve. It was mad, because you're drawing they must be trying to draw the press. They had both centre-halves on the corners of the 6-yard box and the goalkeeper in the middle. Like...
Which 70% of teams do now.
But, like... But given the movement and the pace in which they're doing it, it left them with two passing options, and it was
take the one with Eriksen, right?
Why give him the ball?
Well, first off, where's he passing it to?
Exactly.
There's no, even if the ball got to him and there wasn't a player on him, he didn't have a fucking pass.
Yeah, the only thing he was going to do was give it back to De Gea. That's the best that could have happened.
That was not rehearsed, and you've got to have rehearsed moves for that to work, because you've got to be able to play blind passes. Yes. And it looked like they put Eriksen in there because he's dead good at passing, and they've gone, right, you figure it out. And he had no idea, because the ball's got to go to the right back. You know what I mean? It's just got to go in, and it goes quickly to there, and then someone drops off from the front line, and then
there's a midfielder dropping in for the pass inside, and you take.
De Gea's the issue. He's the main issue. What Eriksen does is the right thing. He draws that guy out. The ball is over my head, mate, to the fullback. He's the goalie. I've been saying this for a while. I know they vote him their best player for the last 3 years or whatever, 2 years or whatever. And I've said he's a massive problem for them. Yeah, because
I've been saying this for 5 years.
Because the reason you say
goalkeeping's moved on, and they haven't clocked it, because if you don't understand the goalkeeping, you think lads who save things are good goalkeepers.
The reason he's saving everything is because he's never off his fucking line and he can't kick, so he keep getting chances.
And they concede lots of shots on goal.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of it's because of him, because he doesn't sniff danger.
He's not a bad goalkeeper. He's just, you can't win a league with him.
He's not a,
you can't win the Premier League with a goalkeeper like that.
Well, he's like Nick Pope. Yeah. Which is a good goalkeeper.
He'll win goalkeeper of the year if you play for Burnley in the Championship. But no, you take my point. If you want to be playing out from the backside, which Manchester United under Ten Hag clearly want to be, they've got to change the goalkeeper.
Yep. And they loan the better passing goalkeeper to Nottingham Forest the other day. He saved a penalty. Like that's the clear signs at that football club have not got a clue.
They're a basket case.
They've
got no clear, concise plan, and you've been saying
we can go make it worse.
Chris has been saying this also, something about like if they're buying players that he knows, then that means their director of football has got no say in what's going on. Well,
he's got more power than him because he sacked the last one. So if he got rid of the last one and the new guy walks in, this new guy thinks, well, he got rid. He's got more power than me.
He's their Brendan Rodgers, and he'll get a good style of football going there. And they'll work out the passing out from the back with whatever players they end up with, and they'll be sound, and they might have a good run, and they'll get to see a bit more exciting football or whatever. They'll dominate more of the possession. It's a bit after the Lord Mayor's show. It's at its day. Football is about to evolve into another thing, and they're still trying to learn how to be 2013-14 Liverpool. or 2011 Swansea or 2009 Barcelona. You know, they're miles behind the times with all of this stuff. And if they bottle it at any point, which their fans might force them into, because there's fucking loads of them, and they've all, their heads will all roll, and they'll have the same arguments. Fergie got time, and well, you know, Chelsea sack managers all the time. We need to demand more for Manchester United. They will sack him, and they'll bring another guy in, and he's got a 5 foot centre half that he's bought from the Dutch league. He's got a 5 foot left back that he's bought from the Dutch league.
And Mourinho and you know, all of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, all the lads that have gone before. That's the problem.
Frankenstein squad.
It's probably still Cristiano Ronaldo who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and Ferguson then. You've got Ferguson playing and Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Frankenstein squad.
They just need to make Ronaldo the manager and get on with it.
They're absolute shambles. We need to go there, and like I say, just run the nuts off them. It's going to be bad there anyway, because I know they're doing protests and stuff, so it's going to be a hostile place anyway for their own fans. Usually when we go there, it's the entire focus, not been it's horrendous sometimes. It's all on us. It's you couple of thousand there, and the 11 lads who aren't in red on the pitch are the focus of the blame. On Monday, it's going to be internal. It's like going to dinner with another couple who have just had a massive row. It's going to be really, you're just sitting there thinking, let them just get on with it, and we'll just have a nice dinner and go home. Yeah. Liverpool just needs to go in there, let them kill each other, and just score a couple of goals.
What's
and we'll wander
with
away.
the lads who had to like walk out on 73 banner, who was still in the stadium at like 85? Have you seen that? Have you seen that picture?
That's an advertisement for what they're going to do on Monday.
Right, okay.
Yeah. That's
because it didn't say that, Paul.
Yeah,
it said walk out on 73. So there might have been lads who saw it and go, right, we're all walking out on 73 lads, and they got off and they're like, why haven't they gone?
Yeah, they missed the tweet.
The sales of Norris scarves have gone through the roof.
Yeah, they are.
Club shop moved up north.
They're doing this walkout, aren't they, on Monday? I mean, Liverpool can definitely help with that. That'll be great.
They did it last year. Mo Salah did it last year.
And that'll help. That's why they've done. I think that's why they've chosen this game. Is like, well, you need a shot in the arm, don't you? It's like having I'm going to start a race, but I'm going to start racing downhill.
Yeah. There's
Roll and start. That's what it is.
There's no way if somehow they're winning the game, they leave.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, they need us to win. So let's just have Liverpool win. Right, more on this, of course, on the build-up show, which will be on Thursday. Do tune in for that one. We have got an extra podcast show. We're going to be going live on Redmen Plus shortly after this one with Redmen Extra. Which is the top secret, uncensored Redmen show with the topics, the words, the language that we couldn't possibly put out on the open platforms on YouTube, Spotify, and all that kind of stuff. So if you want more uncensoredness from me, Chris, and Steve, and you want to know what my story about being pantsed and all that, then please head over to Redmen Plus. We'll see you over there for that one. Loads of extra content each and every week, of course, on redmenplus.com. Journo Insight with Neil Jones is tomorrow. Around the League was yesterday, which had a heavy focus on the state of Manchester United. Always good stuff.
It makes us feel better, doesn't it? That's the thing. It fills you up inside.
I'm glad. If they were good and we were a sticky period, I'd just be having
flashbacks to Everton United the shit.
Yeah. Big time. Right, that's it for the podcast.
How's Anthony Gordon going for 45 minutes?
Hilarious. And more probably.
AG10 boy. What a Reggie.
Wow, that's mental. Did you see that? No. His registration plate.
It's AG10 boy.
Sell him. Give him away.
Mentally, he'd gone as soon as Everton fans saw that car.
When he turned up in his pre-season outfit and they went, oh no, we can't have another lad with fashion, with my fashion sense. It's the least Everton thing ever. Like, it needs to be in Lonsdale's and 3/4 length tracky bottoms. Anyway, that's the podcast for this week. Another one next week. See us over on Podcast Extra very shortly if you're already subscribed, and if not, after the fact, in podcast or in video form. You guys are the best, even if Liverpool aren't quite right now. Ta-da. Thank you so much for joining us on this video. Do drop a like and share it on social media if you enjoyed. And if you want more from us, please do consider joining Redmen Plus, our Liverpool streaming service. Get access to documentaries about Liverpool legends, past and present, interviews with Liverpool legends, past and present, and more Redmen shows each and every week in video and in podcast. It's redmenplus.com.